The Alex Way.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Alex Moraes. Welcome to the Alex Way podcast. This is a show in which we talk about passion, dedication, and leadership in the soccer industry, in the soccer world. I am so pleased to be here with you again because every time we talk about a different subject matter with quality people, people who bring something different to the game, to the industry. This is a show in which you'll listen and watch to different folks, fans, coaches, players, upcoming, professional, ongoing individuals who have a positive impact in the world and in people around them. So for today, I am so honored to be here with a special guest, a guest that is an international from El Salvador. El Salvador is a neighbor country of my home country, Honduras, and let's just introduce him really briefly here. Ladies and gentlemen, Marlon Miranda is originally from El Salvador, and he used to be a soccer player himself. A little bit of his soccer experience or background is with academy level La Chelona, Academia La Chelona en 1996, 1996 through 2005 in El Salvador. Uh, Aurora FC or Aurora FC from 2002 to 2003 in Guatemala. Also, he was a part of the national team, the under 15 national team process of El Salvador in 2006, as well as the under 17 youth national team of El Salvador in 2007. So subsequently, right, in a row. Then he went and transcended to Academia Cuscatlan or Cuscatlan Academy from 2007 to 2011. He then went to tryouts to try to aspire to study abroad, like I did, to Costa Rica and tried out with football consultants. And this was the period of 2010 and 2011. Now, when it comes to academics, his academic background is rich and very interesting. First of all, he has a bachelor's in international relations from La Universidad Francisco Gavidia or the Francisco Gavidia University. But also, he has another specialized training in account management and Salesforce design. This is from West Virginia University. He's getting married in a week. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love for Marlon Miranda. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for having me. What a great introduction. I mean, now I know how everyone feels on your program, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Also, thank you to your future wife for allowing us to borrow you for a couple of minutes. Um, we have so much to talk about. And just so everybody's aware, Marlon, uh, did you know, everybody, you can follow us in social media. Just go ahead and search for the hashtag the Alex Way and follow me and Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok, LinkedIn, all over the place, especially YouTube. Also, feel free to support the podcast. We have in my YouTube channel as well as in the description a couple links. One of them is for donations or support. That's financial support for us to keep moving forward. That's through PayPal. So, anyways, going back into this with Marlon Miranda, we will talk about an interesting topic, and that is beyond LinkedIn. Have you heard of LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a social media that's powerful and growing. It's a professional social media when compared to Facebook and the like. It's a different kind of content and different kind of profiles that we see. Um, in fact, we're going to talk about what happens when you work in your personal brand. This goes to you players and coaches and how to properly introduce social media into the mix. But before we get there, Marlon, could you please be so kind to tell us what makes Marlon Miranda the man he is today?
Okay, so I believe that as a fan of soccer, uh, I truly believe that soccer helped me out through different stages of my life. And the reason why is because I'm a competitive person and I'm always trying to be better on what I do. I consider myself as a doer, so I always take action. I try to see like the big picture, but even if I see it, I go through and solve issues. Try to see. I mean, if you have a problem, you always have to look like different ways to solve it. And I think that not only on soccer, but if you practice a sport, or if any of the viewers have a kid and they wanted to practice sport, I would recommend it because the sport gives you a discipline that I believe that that keeps you, that is with you for the rest of your life. So I believe that the sport has, or especially soccer, has a big impact in my life.
Very well said, man. I mean, this is, I always say these conversations allows me to just be humble and to learn more about the guests that I bring in, even though we met in Costa Rica and we can talk about that soon. There is so much that there is to learn about a person, and it is all always through the power of asking, of questioning things. And so that is very, very interesting how you have come up with soccer as a tool to professionalize yourself and become more disciplined and successful. Um, could you talk to me about what it's like to be from El Salvador? So, as a Salvadorian, what's your hometown? What can you tell us about it?
Sure. Well, I live in Antiguo Cuscatlán, which is from La Libertad department. It's near San Salvador, the capital. So to be Salvadorian or be here in El Salvador, most of the time for companies abroad, you're a person that works hard, but probably they always look these countries like people that makes more effort, but doesn't require too much like incomes, you know. And when you start thinking on what you're doing and what you receive, you start thinking about probably the best way here in El Salvador and most of the countries in Latin America is to go abroad the country, you know, to go to the States, to go to Canada, and to find more opportunities. But truly, to be here, uh, I know that times comes to a different situation once in a while. So I believe that here in El Salvador, we're going through changes, and even though they're not like big changes, I know that probably each one of us have the job to do that make to make it happen because at the end it is not the government that's going to save you. It's going to be you and your family, your attitude on what you have, and probably that's the best example that I can give you on during the COVID-19 lockdown. Most of the people lost their jobs. They didn't know what to do, but there were I believe hundreds of people that make these startups on bakery, on social media services. I mean, I can tell you like 5 or 6 friends have become an entrepreneur during this season, and it is amazing
Wow.
because um, even though they have their job, some of them lost their job. I mean, the attitude that they grabbed during the COVID-19 lockdown, I mean, it's something that probably everyone had, uh, but in on their own. But they were like sleep. I don't know. This lockdown come and wake up everything. So that's pretty much how we are here in El Salvador, and of course, that's my perspective.
Okay, great. That's interesting. We can say then from what you currently stated that people from El Salvador are entrepreneurial. They try to rise up to the challenges, especially with a pandemic and an interesting year, by the way. And I like that quote about the government not resolving your day-to-day situation. It's but your attitude and what you put in, your dedication. Um, and that resounds with me because, as you may know, as a Honduran Central American brother of yours, it's kind of the same situation in Honduras. People had to reinvent themselves during these challenging times to rise up and above and beyond the challenging circumstances to try to create new services, new products, or something that was already there, but that could be sold during these times of crisis just to pay the bills and survive. So I guess we have that in common. We are survivors, our cultures. And
Yeah.
it's great to know that because in the US and many other places, they sometimes see people from our countries not in the same manner, right? Not in at the same level, at the same height. Uh, it's just the way it is, right? I'm not saying everybody, but it happens. There's this stereotype of Latinos, and we're actually hard workers.
We are. We definitely are.
Now, if you're from El Salvador, you know there's really good food. If you're not from El Salvador, what would you suggest a tourist or someone planning to vacate in El Salvador soon?
Well, definitely, if you come to El Salvador, you have to try pupusas. Definitely. Uh, that's probably, well, you as a Honduran, you may know that pupusas are so delicious. And
Absolutely.
I believe that pupusas have become an international icon of our food. So I will
Sure.
always recommend that.
You know, it's funny because I lived right after college. I graduated from Lindenwood University, and I didn't have a dime to my name, so I had to go to where I had connections, family, and I went to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, northeast coast of the U.S. And when I was there in Lancaster, I noticed there was a restaurant, Salvadoran restaurant, and there was this lady and a beautiful restaurant and with pictures of how she started a little place and now the place is a little bit bigger and why not, and I had to try those pupusas. Good lord, amazing. Mwah! Deliciosos. Que buenísimas. Dude, what about Marlon? What about your soccer playing experience? I mean, I would like to know. We already described some, but how was it like? Like, why did you get started with football? Why? What got you? What got you started?
Sure. Well, I remember that I was around 5 years old, and I was with my neighbors. Yeah, well, so one of those neighbors is Kevin Rivera, coach. So,
Kudos to Kevin Rivera.
kidding,
Next
kidding.
guest. Next guest.
Yeah. So I remember that one of our neighbors got into La Chelona first, and he told us that yeah he was going to some field. He played soccer, and it was kind of fun. So the other neighbors and I decided to tell our parents that we wanted to go. You know, because back then uh, in the mid 90s, there were not so many soccer academies as they are today. So to go to an academy in that time requires that you had to travel more miles and just to get a training for what 2 3 hours and then come back, and it was like it was quite a challenge, you know, back then because for our parents, now that you're a grown up, you understand what the sacrifice of that were, and and you keep up more valuable for what your parents did. And well, I started in Barcelona, and I was a defender at first, but then we had a friendly match, and there was no goalkeeper. So this is a fun story, and I always remember because it was Kevin that told the coach, like, "Hey, Marlon is a goalkeeper. Put it on." And I was like, "It was." You know what's the most funny part? That it was my second day of training at La Chalana, and I was like, so it was a great experience because even though I have they they gave us a lot of goals, but I mean it was a great experience, and I started training. I like being a goalkeeper while I was at a young age, and I really appreciate all the coaches that I have in La Chilana because there was even a coach that came from Argentina that was a goalkeeper training,
Very nice.
and I learned a lot of him. So not only on the soccer, but he always, you as a coach, you always tell your kids not only things on soccer, but life lessons. And that's
Absolutely.
what I like about it because every time that I went to a soccer practice, I bring not only joy of training, but I always learn. I was not learning only in school. I was learning also in my trainings. So that was a really beautiful stage that I have on my life. And then on 2002, they transferred my dad, who back then he worked in sales, and we moved to Guatemala. So it was a whole new adventure.
Wow.
Uh, the, the soccer was completely different. The
Wow.
temperature, I mean, the temperature here here's a little more warmer in El Salvador, but there in Guatemala sometimes you were like 5 or 6 degrees, and it was so cold. And I
6 degrees
remember that
Celsius. Celsius.
Celsius, correct.
Wow. Yeah.
So
For our listeners who think about 6 degrees, they think about them as Fahrenheit. So
in
probably
Fahrenheit.
was about 12, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, probably.
Yeah, so and most of the players play with gloves, and I was like, that was like a first experience that I saw, and it was like all new to me, and playing here and there in Guatemala, and we live side by side, but they have like an accent, and when I was talking like with my Salvadorian accent, they were all like, "Hey, where are you from?" And I was like, I'm from Salvador. I mean, I don't come from that far, and
Wow. Marlon,
but
so you experienced culture shock. Now, listen, everybody. You can still experience culture shock. And yes, even in the Spanish language, you still experience different slangs, right? Different weird
right,
slangs and accents and whatnot. Isn't that crazy? Because you don't think about it, right? Because we speak Spanish. Spanish, you emphasize vowels, and in English you emphasize consonants, and you that's why you have this weird, funny Speedy Gonzalez accent here in the U.S. But you can still experience it in Spanish as well. So interesting how by just moving from El Salvador to Guatemala in Central America, you still experience culture shock and you still experience living the known for the unknown, living abroad, huh?
yeah. I mean, it was definitely one of the best experiences because I got to learn, as you said, there was a culture shock, and I remember that helped me out. I drift on what everything happening around me. So
Hmm.
I remember that worked for me because I made a lot of friends in Guatemala, and because of my accent, it was like, hey, he's the foreign guy, you know. He's Salvadoran. So yeah, I mean that was kind of funny. So back on the soccer subject, I
Yeah.
play not only in Aurora. I played for the team in school, and I went to different schools in Guatemala. So I knew Guatemala through football, because I went every Saturday on the morning. Uh, I grabbed a bus with the whole team, and we went to other schools in our departments in Guatemala, and
Was this a private school, bilingual school, American style? Was it a public one? How would you describe it?
it was it is a private bilingual, but
Nice.
it didn't have the American schedule, but it was a bilingual. So
So cool.
I mean that was like great experience, and then I had to they transferred again my dad to El Salvador, and I feel more comfortable when I came back to El Salvador. I was having a great attitude, not only in soccer but in academics. I was
Right.
really good. So
Wow.
that helped me out, and I got I was one more year in La
Yeah.
Chelona, and then I try out to the national team here in El Salvador.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So you came back. So your family moved back, or was it only you who moved back to El Salvador?
now, when we came back to El Salvador, it was the whole family.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And you tried out for, we call it el proyecto de programa de preselección de talento, ¿no? Okay,
Correct.
so this is like, okay, so this is where I want to do a parenthesis real quick, because as you can see, I have a logo in here. If you're listening to the podcast, you don't probably see it now, but you probably have seen this logo in our episodes. But this is the state of Missouri, USYS. This is United States Youth Soccer Olympic Development Program, ODP Missouri. It's exactly the same thing as Preselección de Talentos, is to see, like, recruit, scout, develop the future promises of the country, who will hopefully, some of them, represent that country in a youth national team. I mean, I did it. I was a part of a process and was the goalkeeper for my under 17 national team of Honduras back around the same time as you were, 2007, 2008. And you were the same way. Now, you went into two processes, right? Under 15 and under 17. How was that like?
Well, to be part of that process, I mean, I started first in the tryouts for the department team that they have. So they have La San Salvador team, and they have other departments teams from El Salvador. So I tried out in the San Salvador team, and I got in. As I was playing as a defender there. I was a right defender, and I started playing and training a lot with the San Salvador team. And then when the opportunity came, uh, I went to first to the U15 um, tryouts, and they grabbed me to be in the process. I was in the trainings, I was in the friendly matches, and I was always during the whole process. And the reason why, and this is probably most of the things that we as athletes come to once in a lifetime, is that um, there's a part in your life that you have to decide if you are going 100% on sports, or you are going to give up more to studies. So
Yep.
I had that issue. Well, more like a sacrifice in that time, because I really wanted to become a soccer player, But my dad told me that it was up to me, that I had the last decision, because the process here in Salvador for the U15, it was that they had to take you out of your school, even
Wow.
if you're on a private or something, and they will put you on a school that they have, So
Wow.
it
Oof.
was it was a
That's
tough
tough.
decision.
That's a tough call, man.
Yeah, It was. So it was a tough decision, but at the end, I appreciate my dad because at the end he told me that, hey son, whatever you want to do, that's what we're gonna do, and probably the sacrifice to you as a dad working and trying to give the best to your kids, but you're against your kid's dream. So that's like a tough decision
Man,
for everyone. So
absolutely.
so I left the process of U15, and I keep continuing training and playing for the San Salvador team, and until the next year that I was on the tryouts for the under 17, and it happened the same thing again. I mean, because I understand that most of the processes that they have, they want to have like they try to have like in control what you do
Sure.
as
Yeah.
a soccer player,
Right.
your studies, your trainings, and that's fine. But back then, and well, still, I believe that probably the situation is not the best one to do that, but I mean, I believe that the idea is a good one, but we're far from getting to the ideal of that, and that was probably one of the decisions that I had to make back then because as under 17, also the problem was that I was in between years. I'm from 1991, and
Right.
for the from the unders, you need to be on years that ends on pairs. So you had to be from the 90, you had to be from 92. And I was from 91. So I was in between U15 and U17.
Right. Of course.
But I tried the process. I mean, I know that I had challenges, and it was a tough decision back then in U15. But once I had the opportunity to be on U17, I mean, uh, it was a great opportunity. But again, I had to make the tough decision, and I mean, I don't regret at all because
Right.
that makes me the man I am today.
Right.
But I'm happy because most of the teammates that I have on U17, most of them played in the first division here in El Salvador. Others play out of the country, and
Right.
and I'm really proud of them because they made their dreams.
Absolutely. And you were a part of that dream. And you met these folks, and now they're, I mean, you can look back and say, I played with them and maybe see each other and be like, hey, man, we know each other. And how cool, huh? I mean, that's what makes the world small is it's a sport like soccer. That's an activity that makes the world small and to make you connected with all these different people who go to different destinations, and you just have connections everywhere. I mean, it's beautiful tool to network. And you know what? I'm really happy of what you said. It's that your dad. What's his name?
Marlon Miranda too.
Oh, okay, come on now, Mr. Marlon Miranda. Now, let me tell you, I am very pleased to know that whoever was paying attention caught this or must have. He didn't kill your dream. He didn't say either you study or he said, you know what, I'll support your decision. Now, that to me speaks volumes of your dad, of who you are as well, because you're a product of him. And that's exactly the same thing that happened with me. Um, it's just interesting that I was in a youth national team. Now I'm coaching potential youth players here in the United States. But at that moment, I remember that they got me to different new levels of soccer. When I ended up in first division doing preseason with Club Deportivo Vida, it's been around for over 70 years. They offered my dad, because I mean, I was a minor. They offered my dad a contract for me. We would like your son to be the main goalkeeper in second division. We are reigning champions. We're defending our title, and then he can be the second goalkeeper in first division. I mean, my dad came back to me and said, "This is the opportunity, but I'll respect whatever you decide." I said, "I want to study abroad. I want to go to the U.S. because nothing is guaranteed, and I just want to do that. I wanted to really go and get my career." because unfortunately in our countries, unless in El Salvador, things have changed, but in Honduras, it's either studying or difficult to study and play, but it's either study or play soccer. And I wanted to just have my education. So, but really great story with your dad. Now, let's go into what we're here for, okay? Because we have a couple minutes. And I would like to talk about beyond LinkedIn. Could we define what is a personal brand? What's personal branding?
Definitely. So, personal branding is what you want to project to everyone and what specifically you want them to know from you. And beyond LinkedIn is something that I, I, I work on it while I was unemployed. Um, I graduated from university and I have some internships. Some of them were not paid, and others were like with a specific time, like 3 months, 6 months up. And I was in between jobs, in between internships. So I started going to interviews and job fairs, and I went so many interviews that at some point I became an expert on what they ask, on what HR or assistant request, what were the questions, um, what every word meant, So um, I was like really hope. I had hope on all these job first, but unfortunately, I didn't get any job in there. And I was like, I need to work, because I was going to do the next step of my life to become a professional. I have been a professional already from graduating from university, but I didn't have a job, and I was really concerned about it because the conditions here in El Salvador were not good enough.
Right.
And suddenly I did have my LinkedIn profile, but I didn't have it like I didn't have it complete, and there were some things
Right.
missing, like my studies, some courses I have did, and then I started thinking about okay, LinkedIn can work if everyone. I mean, if LinkedIn has a purpose, why not taking advantage of it? And I start. I'm not lying to you, and you can ask my wife. Uh, I work around 2 or 3 weeks every day on LinkedIn to understand like what HR people posted, what they do, what jobs they posted, how was the process in different companies. So I
Right.
became like a little process on expert in there, and I started
Yeah.
adding people, and I started to create my network with them.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
there was one time that I have probably over 3,000 HR persons here from El Salvador on HR, and I saw every post, and I saw that they had like a pattern on what they post and what they require. So I started developing my profile based on that. And once I got that, the views you have on LinkedIn, they start to come. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Wow.
So,
Genius.
so I started doing that, and then I started working on my personal branding. I changed my
Great.
picture. I put a better picture. I put on my biography. I put what
Right. A biography. A
yeah,
headline. A headline also.
correct. A
Better
headline.
description. Better job descriptions.
Yes,
Okay.
and I started developing all that, and suddenly offers came to the inbox, and I was like really happy, because I worked on that. And the last, I'm currently working for a U.S. Company, but the
Sure.
last 2 jobs, including the one I'm doing right now, I got it from LinkedIn. So I'm really
They
happy
were they were
because
direct recruiters contacting you, right? The last three offers, correct?
The last two, yes. The first one that I got, it was a CEO of a company here. Uh,
Unbelievable.
and it was amazing, you know. When he wrote me, I was like in shock because, I mean, I created something that it worked for me, and I always try to share this message. And so it's on that there's a bank here in El Salvador that hired me to give a workshop on how to work your personal brand on LinkedIn, and I gave it to employees on different departments, and they were happy because they were not doing based for looking a job. They were only doing it to become known, you know, because they wanted to get known inside their company, and that's what the magic of LinkedIn does. Because if you put the right things where they had to go,
Right.
everything will come right to you. So
Now let me ask you something. Personal branding, it's important nowadays, especially for any sort of industry. Now, speaking about it from a standpoint of the soccer industry, in which you have players who would like opportunities to play somewhere, first division, second, third, professionally abroad. Um, and also coaches who are upcoming, didn't make it professionally necessarily, but they want to be a part of this industry. Would you suggest LinkedIn for both players and coaches?
definitely, even for back office personnel that they are on their teams, because currently on all LinkedIn network, around 70% is out of the United States. So
Sure,
there's a lot
absolutely.
of market out there. And if you are in the States and you want to go to Europe, there's a big chance you can be to get known there. Uh, this on social media, remember that most of this works based on algorithms. So
Right.
if you start working your personal profile on soccer and if you're a coach, you can put your achievements, what teams you have coached, what certificates you have. I know that in the States you had to get a lot of certificates before you become a coach. So I
Yeah.
mean, all so all that works, you know, because
Sure.
that's basically in LinkedIn what it works, you know.
Now, wait a second. For LinkedIn now, I mean, how many views are we talking about that you were receiving in your profile? How many views a day, per week? What was your average?
Well, when I first saw the change, I started seeing like around 46 views per week. That was like the average, 46, 53 around there. And
Yeah.
then when I start creating all uh, this personal brand and change the image, and I start even posting a little like quotes and all that because uh, I really wanted to get to some companies, you know. So if the company was from beverage, I was put a comment on what this beverage makes to the people, like, hey, this is a great beverage to share, you know. I was creating marketing, sales, all that process, and they
It's awesome.
and I was not working for that company, and I was like,
Wow.
okay, it worked, you know. So
Nice. So
I can I
giving, you mean kindness, kindness on a whole new level in social media through other employers and their products and services, even
yes,
though you were not a part of those companies just yet.
correct, correct. Well, then when I was like on my top, I have from 850 and above per week
Unbelievable.
for different
I
companies.
haven't made such thing. I think my best days have been 200, 300 and something, and I don't
But
even
that's pretty
play.
good. That's
Well, I
pretty
mean,
good.
but now it has decreased to less than 100, 100. I mean, and Yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that you have to have a strategy behind it. You must have a plan. You must also mirror those successful profiles and study what HR folks are posting out there, just like you did. And this goes to any sort of industry. I mean, personally, I really think that there is value in LinkedIn. And even if this sounds crazy, I know LinkedIn works in the US, but the fact that it worked for you and you're now working for a US company in El Salvador, I mean, folks, let's wake up. This is the digital age. We need social media, but we need strategic use of it, and we need specific, really top social media. For instance, LinkedIn for a fact, Instagram. Let's not underestimate TikTok, Facebook, obviously. Even Twitter, which a lot of people thought it was dying, and now it seems to be just perfectly fine. I mean, every social media has a different input, right? A different sort of input in our lives and different output out there. But anyways, very, very interesting. Now, what's next for Marlon Miranda before we land into our last round of questions? What's next for you, if you could briefly tell us?
Well, briefly, I want to keep growing on professional side, keep growing on my family, have some kids, some of that. Uh, but at the end, I really want to go back to soccer, probably as I don't know if buying a team here in the future, because I do
Wow.
have a projection on that, and I want to do it like I want to invest in that because I know that soccer really play a great success key on your life.
Absolutely.
So this changes a lot of life, on soccer changed life of young people, and that's what I want to do in the future, to come back with soccer and bring everything I know now that I have learned on the business side and go with everything.
Now, as a LinkedIn expert, I would say someone who now gets, and you don't pay for the premium, right? You're just getting those 800, 700 views every week, which is phenomenal. Can people reach out to you for help? If is it okay for us to write your LinkedIn profile and contact info in the description below?
Absolutely, no problem. Most of the trainings I have gave I have give some introductions on and inductions training in the company I work for right now, and sometimes I share some tips there. And there's people asking me for if I can share some of the tips, And
Excellent.
absolutely, LinkedIn is for that, to create a network.
I think you should get started with getting paid as a LinkedIn consultant. That's just me. Probably it already happened, or you never know. It's already happened, but it's just food for thought. I wanted to go to the last thing, and it's been a pleasure talking to you about so many things. Um, I'm gonna say this is a lightning round. I'm gonna say one word, and hopefully you can tell me whatever comes to mind as quickly as possible, and then we'll just say farewell. But are you ready?
Hit it.
Excellent. El Salvador.
Beautiful.
Family.
Love.
Wife.
Life.
Kids.
Future.
Guatemala.
My second home.
Great. LinkedIn.
Oh my God. Best tool I ever met.
Networking.
Uh, do it. Networking. Do it.
Awesome. Football.
Passion. Definitely.
Soccer ball. The soccer ball.
First love.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your time, Marlon. It's been great. I think you're motivated us to research about social media, especially LinkedIn, and to start our profile. If not, update our profile and network so we can get those views and get our dream jobs. Because why not? Um, Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the very best with your wife. I know that you're getting married in the church now, coming up this weekend. And it just well, I guess by the time this is posted, you're gonna already be married. But anyways, but congratulations, and my respect and love to you and to you both. And God bless you always, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your time for this interview. It was really interesting. And of course, if people want to know more, they can contact me on LinkedIn as Marlon Miranda, and I will send you the link in the description.
Phenomenal. Well, thank you everybody for being a part of the Alex Way Show. Please follow our podcast in your preferred platform. We are in Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Anchor, etc. Look me up at Moraes Melara, my two last names, in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., Instagram. I'll see you for next in the next episode with more about soccer, passion, dedication, leadership, more guests, cool conversations, and hopefully we can have Marlon in the future again. Thank you all, and God bless. Ciao.
You've been listening to The Alex Way. We're all over the internet. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn.